Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, good people? And welcome back once again to 3 and Out, brought to you by MyGarageBar.com and Disruption Network. I almost got through that seamlessly, man.
Almost, yeah.
I was so wired. I was like, I got it this time. Maybe not so much.
It was the jelly.
Jamie's in here, and I guess Erica told him that I was going to be on my own, and he should watch out for me. And so he did that by bringing in a box of jelly donuts, which I've been munching on. Hey, you know what? I got to move you over just a hair.
Oh, this again.
Yeah.
Last week it was my fault for being off camera because I was off talking to JP Schofield.
Yes.
And this week it's totally your fault. I've been here. I'm ready to go.
It's going to be an interesting show because Todd is not around today, and Z just left. And so I'm on my own here to basically I'll burn down the building.
Yes.
This should be interesting.
Short version is we need an adult.
Yeah. I need an adult. I watched Office Space the other night, man. What a great movie.
You make Steve? I love it.
And you were the one who pointed that out to me, that you are 100% right in the movie. What was it? Get Out?
Yes. Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
He's the guy, the weird guy in the wheelchair.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah.
That wants his eyes or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's in Dodgeball too.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's in Dodgeball. He was
the one with the wife in the stands. He gets really mad.
Yes. Yeah. The one with the goggles. Right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Unreal. See, this guy has a whole movie career, and we didn't even know about it.
Yes, he does.
I do now. I'm going to go hunt him down, man.
He's awesome.
Do you know his name?
Stephen
Root.
Yeah.
Stephen Root.
Right.
Holy! Why are you on this show?
I don't know.
I got Siskel and Ebert. It's great, man. It's great. So, I'll introduce you guys. As you notice, there's an empty chair there. Wah, wah. Somebody doesn't have a clock. Does Ray remember that we're doing the show tonight?
He might still be in Buffalo, swallowing his loss on that one.
What did you just said? When you stumbled across it, he was drunk staggering around in front of the Buffalo or something.
Yeah, and that's the best part because there was I think 64,000 people at that game, and despite the fact that we were conversing, and then he totally fell off the planet, I stumble into him on the way into the stadium in front of a mechanical bull.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, exactly. I think he was enjoying all the kids just kind of jumping on there and getting launched off of that thing.
Did he go to the game by himself?
No, he had a few coworkers with him. I think he said 3 other people went with him.
We should really get those coworkers' numbers and call them.
Did you leave him there, or what happened? Yeah.
Put out an MIA for Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we got you, Mr. Jamie Austin.
Yes.
And so, how was the game, man?
For me, awesome. It was windy as all hell, though.
Yeah.
That was the only problem. But when we get out there, the weather, I think on the TV, it actually said it was like 40 or 41 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, but the great part about it is the wind was like, it's a steady 17 miles an hour with gusts in 35 miles an hour. So it was cold. But, you dress for it. We're prepared. We knew going into that. But, man, it was a good time. Nothing went wrong. Nothing, it was smooth sailing all the way in and all the way out. It was good times.
Now, I'll tell you, the last time I was out in Buffalo watching a game was, and you're going back a few years, this was when the Giants played Buffalo in that last game before they went to the Super Bowl and ended up beating the Patriots.
Yeah.
Remember they had that massive snowball?
Yes. Yeah.
And so we were out there for that, and it was so brutal. I mean, they have the metal metal bleachers.
Yeah.
And we were sticking to the freaking bleachers. So just horrible. But
the nice part is they got rid of the metal ones. Now they're actually plastic for the most part. And myself and Andy Kelly who went with me. We actually had padded seats. It was great.
You had padded seats?
They were there just to show where I was standing because we didn't sit down at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we were just going at it, yelling and everything.
Right on. So. Okay. Oh, look at this. They're already checking in. The Moss family checking in from Florida. I love it.
Is it lovely and balmy down there? I got to ask.
I'm going to tell you, She's not here either. Erica, who's a staple on the
This is not Erica.
show.
This is not Erica.
We've traded in Erica this week, but she's down in Florida, and I've been looking at all her photos that she's taking, and all I can say is jealous.
Yeah.
Totally jealous. Yeah. So, but we do have you, and that's one thing to get happy about, Mr. Ray Party.
Yes.
Our Ray number part deuce.
Part due. Yeah. Yeah.
What's been going on, man?
Nothing much. I noticed that, you had to bring somebody pretty in. Erica's not here. Otherwise, you have to look at that mug,
Yeah.
Yep.
for the rest of the show. So
Exactly.
thanks for the invite.
We're looking for another pretty face to
Number 1 draft pick, that would be me. Yep.
yeah.
For those of you out there that are listening, if you can't tell, me and Ray have known each other a while. So
Yeah.
this picking at each other thing is going to happen
All
quite a
day.
bit.
This
Yeah.
show is going to be great.
You guys have known each other since like itty bitty kids.
About 34, 35 years now.
Yeah, pushing 35 years.
Every
and we're
team-
and we're 38. So
Yeah, every team that we like is a rival of the other team. It's bad. It's really bad.
It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, and we're this close to each other, so this is going to be a problem.
I know. I almost want to like spread you out since Ray's not here.
No, I'm pretty sure he's going to be holding my thigh in about 10 seconds, so he's fine.
at least either that or the shark's getting him. I don't know which.
So, for anybody out there watching, if all of a sudden you see Ray, the other Ray Nation, come booking in here, leave some comments. I'll read the comments to him. We can give him a little
Harassing?
a little harassing because yeah, man, wow, we're way over, huh? With him. Huh.
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't have a clock. Anyway, so what are we doing this week? We got a whole bunch of stuff planned. The first thing we're going to end up doing is talking about some of the games, but later on it's going to get fun for you guys because we have a special segment dedicated to the 100 top players that the NFL is doing right now. We're going to ask you guys to list your, not top 100, we'll be here all night, but you're going to list your top 100 or your top 10 players of all time. Yeah. It's going to be all very quick and believable. Everybody will love it. So there you go. Let's start out though. Last week we talked about the Dallas Cowboys, and we talked about this two-team race basically that's going on in the NFC East. And so looking at Philly, which of course is the other team that's probably still in that race, I'm looking at it here. They're 5-6. Sitting one game behind the 6-5 Cowboys. Obviously, a little bit of a blown opportunity to make up some ground last weekend. They lost to the Seattle Seahawks 17-9, and I know fans aren't really happy about that either. But there's good news, and that's that Dallas didn't do anything. It didn't do anything either this week. They met the Patriots, and they lost that one 13-9. I mean, we've talked about the remaining schedule, and I got to tell you, it looks pretty good for the Eagles. I think we've all agreed on that. But before we get into that and we talk about what's going to happen in the future, I think it would probably be appropriate to talk a little bit about where this team has been this past season, what they've been doing in the first half of the season. We weren't really sure about them. And, I mean, as I look back on some of the losses they had, first to Atlanta, and then they had another one to Detroit, I guess it kind of had us guessing what these guys were going to do. And it's been some rough sledding here and there, but I guess in true Philly fashion, just like years past, they somehow managed to hang around. And certainly right now they're kind of back in the thick of things. So I want to kind of address that first. What were some of the issues that this team had earlier on? And I guess how did they manage to get through them and get to where they are now?
You want me to go first? Okay.
Friends.
I thought we were going to fist fight for a second. But my problem with the Eagles stems from their lack of drafting. They really pushed all in 2 years ago for the Super Bowl, so they were picking up veterans left and right. They didn't develop anybody new. And this is what happens when you go all in. You sacrifice future draft picks for success now. And you're kind of seeing it with the Rams too now. They've basically traded all their equity for, instant success. They get the Super Bowl. They're kind of still in the hangover mode from that. Carson Wentz isn't developing nearly where they thought they were going to have. They should have kept Foles. That was my, personal opinion. It's always going to be my opinion. They brought back Jordan Matthews this week and then cut him for the third time.
Yeah.
They don't have a receiver that can catch a ball. Nelson Aguilar is terrible. And then when your number one is Alshon Jeffrey, and I feel like he was past his prime a year ago. You're constantly picking up older veterans. There's no youth in there. There's no energy. They kind of fall flat, and it just doesn't look right.
Yeah.
You know, they're middle of the pack in offense and defense in every category, and being at 5-6, 6-6, that's what you get. So I don't view them as a threat. It'll come down to the last game, though, probably against Dallas, because Dallas is a roller coaster. But other than that, they sacrifice their future, and now you're kind of in that middle zone where you can be 500, and that's about what you're going to get.
Yeah. Jamie.
I mean, pretty much nailed it. They're hovering in mediocrity, and they're also one of the most bipolar teams I've witnessed. You know, a few weeks ago, if you asked me, against Buffalo, they looked like a dominant team that week. They really did. They started to run the ball. They started using a guy like Jordan Howard, the more north-south type runner. But they were also using Miles Sanders, who I really like. That is the one draft pick that they've had over the last few years that I think has all the talent in the world to be explosive. They don't have much otherwise on either side of the football as far as young guys that are willing to take that role. But Sanders looked outstanding against Buffalo. And I thought, okay, here goes their identity. Now they're going to lean on Howard and Sanders to get them through and start running the football more. Quite possibly right now, the team that's playing the best football in the NFL is Baltimore, and they're running the damn ball down people's throats right now. They're running all over people. This whole idea that this is a passing league is starting to fall away a little bit. Sure, you got some teams that can pull it off who have guys like Patrick Mahomes, but if you have somebody like Carson Wentz, who's not really an elite quarterback, he's going to be a guy that's going to do enough not to hurt you, but he's not going to be able to throw up 400 yards if you're down 3 scores. So lean on your running game. But when they stop doing that, you start seeing what they fall into these last few weeks. This was a winnable game. Their defense really stepped up against Seattle. That's a winnable game to lose by one score to that team, and you did nowhere near enough to even put them on their heels at any point of the game. It was pretty much a worse looking game than the score suggests.
Yeah,
Seattle
absolutely.
had that in the bag because there was no fear on that side of the ball with Seattle, because they knew they had this game. They almost dominated that one. And Philadelphia had no answer. The problem, though, is, what's going to happen on Sunday is Philadelphia is going to jump ship again and become this dominant team again out of nowhere. I don't even know who they're playing.
I can tell you.
We're going to.
I can tell you.
It's going to be Miami.
It's Miami.
There you go.
I can't believe you really just. I don't know if you set that up on purpose.
No, I really didn't know it. I know they play Miami this year. I didn't know it was this week. But this is the jump rope that they've been playing all season. They lay a dud and then they come out and smack somebody in the mouth.
Yeah,
that's what they've been doing. The funny part, and what's great for them, is that they're in the NFC East, and nobody wants to win that division.
No,
not a damn team in that, unless there's a new team this week that I don't know about.
We might have to put one over. Somebody
Anybody
claim this division.
Anybody can take it.
You know what? As I'm looking over here, I don't know if Ray's going to come. Why don't you guys shift
we'll
over a little?
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm going to come to you. There you go.
Make it cozy. You friends, you. All right, good
He
stuff.
set that up, though, Rich. That whole, I don't know who they're playing.
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
It's not in the cliff notes.
It'll be
or
a
anything.
dominant performance.
Well, let me go ahead and I'll tell you. So in the final weeks, they actually they play the Giants twice, Washington, Miami, and of course they play Dallas on the 22nd. Dallas' schedule a little bit tougher. They play Buffalo, the Bears, the Rams. They got the game with Philly, and then they end with the Redskins. But I got to tell you, I mean, and this was kind of my question. How do you, when you compare those schedules, how do you like the chances now?
I think they're better, to be honest with you, than what Dallas has. And not to say that Dallas has a tougher road in any way, shape, or form. Their biggest problem right now, when looking at just Dallas, is yes, they're 6-5. They have not beaten a team with a winning record either. And they're playing a Buffalo team who hasn't done that. I get that. But this Thursday game looks a little different for that reason. It's not, I understand it's a Thanksgiving game and it's a home game, but they just played a very tight game in nasty conditions against New England, and Buffalo coasted. This could be a much tougher game than even I originally anticipated against Buffalo. So what I thought would be a win for Dallas might not be right off the bat there. This one's going to tell a lot, though, going forward, because Philadelphia's next few games, as you said, Not to say that they're going to walk away with any of them. Miami has shown up for a few weeks. This past week was not a good one to gauge them by, but they played very well for a solid 4 weeks before that.
I'll give them that. They actually look like they at least want to win.
They're playing under Flores. I'll give them that much at least, you know. So it's not a walk away. And same going forward with the Giants. Daniel Jones is a polarizing figure himself, but he's got a little bit of ability and shown it that he can actually take over a game. Saquon Barkley, that ankle, man.
Yeah, they should shut him down.
Way too damn quick.
They need to shut him down.
I said it on this program that should have been a longer term injury, and they didn't listen to me. They should have called.
What did he have? Like 48 yards or something?
It's like 44 attempts and 82 yards.
It hasn't been pretty.
It's terrible.
It hasn't been pretty.
You know he's not running good. And the problem, though, with Philly is, if you remember, I believe it was the first week, they played against Washington, and Washington was up.
Yeah.
So anytime those division games, they go either way. Pittsburgh just experienced that with Cincinnati, which they should have just washed them. So division games are tricky. They go back and forth. You know that opponent so well that those games are tend to be closer than you would normally assume. So even the Giants game where, you know, they play them twice, you said. So you haven't faced them yet, and that's a hated rivalry.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you got Dallas, who has more talent than Philly, so Dallas should win that game. But as we both know, Jason Garrett kind of puts them in situations where they can't win.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a coin flip type of game right there. So it's from the looks of just the schedule. It's obviously the game that matters is the December 22nd game. That's the one that's going to either make or break the division for the most part. But additionally, I think both teams are setting themselves to back up into a tiebreaker, and I literally meant back into it.
Yep.
Neither one looks to want to step on anybody's throats. Dallas could have done it a few weeks ago, actually a little bit longer than a few weeks ago, against the Jets, and lost to the Jets when they were really struggling. And that's what they're facing right now is, you know, a team that's also bipolar.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but Dallas is a sleeping giant, right? They have way too much talent to be where they are from a record perspective, and you would probably put more money down on Dallas and the talent they have versus Philly and the inconsistency in what you're seeing. So
I agree, because at least it's a healthy running back situation with Ezekiel Elliott. The quarterback situation's a little bit more, I guess you can say, firm as far as it goes. With Prescott's been playing for the most part better than Wentz.
He leads the league in passing yards.
Yeah.
So I mean and they rally around him. Where Wentz, you heard in the offseason that there were rifts in the locker room at all points in time. So they don't particularly follow Wentz. They follow the coach, where I feel it's kind of the opposite in Dallas, where they follow Prescott.
Follow Prescott.
Don't care about the coach.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just the guy on the sidelines with the red hair.
Chucklehead. I mean,
and
that's what he is.
that's about
Chucklehead.
and that's
He's a
about it.
chucklehead.
But even then, you said from a talent standpoint, Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup are probably two of the better young receivers in the NFL right now. As it is, on top of that, Michael Gallup's making some strides at least. But that's a nice 1-2 punch. You know, so they have the talent. They just got to get out of their own way for Dallas. So I would still think that Dallas is going to take that division, but they're doing everything in their power to keep Philadelphia around. They really are keeping Philadelphia around, and that makes the December 22nd game very scary because if it's within one game, that could be nightmare for Dallas.
Yeah, second place in that division is not making the playoffs.
No, not a shot.
It's only one team come from that.
Now, let me ask you something, because, you know, as I was kind of looking at this, you look at the roster. I mean, this is kind of the same roster that they had when they went on the championship run. Obviously, that was with Nick Foles. They don't have him anymore. But, you know, I mean, we kind of discounted them even back then. We said this. I think probably from the middle of the season, we spent most of the time on this show talking about every reason why Philly wasn't going to win the next game, and they just kept winning and winning and winning and winning. Could something like that happen again? Do you see, like, could this team come in and make some noise in the playoffs? I know you said
no. I'm shutting them down, right? So you're talking Malcolm Jenkins 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You're talking they just picked up Jay Ajayi a week ago, and 2 years ago when you had Jay Ajayi and you traded him from Miami, he was coming off his Pro Bowl year. So you're 2 years removed from that, and then you had a lot of people jump ship and leave, and it's just I'm not sold on them at all, especially where they rank from an offensive defense perspective, because they're playing the same teams as a Dallas.
yeah.
and they're middle of the road. Where Dallas, at least from an offense perspective, Dak Prescott's giving you top 3 offense, top 4 offense. So I'm not a believer in them at all. I don't think they're going to win.
Jamie, you
Their inconsistencies are too aggressive. That's the only problem. I understand that their biggest competition is also another inconsistent squad in Dallas, but at least with Dallas, they usually tend to right the ship pretty quickly and come out and I guess rebound is the nice way to say it.
It's usually right after Thanksgiving too,
Which I'm fine. Right after
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is fine. Not on Thanksgiving. That's fine. They can rebound later.
Yeah.
But no, they have rebounded all season pretty well from bad losses or bad play, and then the next week we're talking about Michael Gallup getting 13 catches and 2 touchdowns, 160 yards, some crazy stats. Amari Cooper just being Amari Cooper. We don't have to even say anything about him. He is what he is. And as Ray already said, Dak Prescott does lead the NFL, at least going into this week, in
Right.
passing yards. So he's silently put together a more productive season. And that's the comparison. When you look at a guy like Wentz, I have seen really nothing. I've seen a lot of regression out of a guy like Wentz. That they unfortunately mortgaged the farm on this guy,
Right.
And maybe the injuries that he's dealt with it really derailed him a little bit because he looked okay. He looked like he was on an MVP caliber season when they went to the Super Bowl and won it with Foles. And since then, he has massively regressed. He doesn't look like the same player anymore.
no, he doesn't. He started out
Right.
in those
Well,
first
yeah.
few games. He was looking great,
Phenomenal.
and then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, what happened to this guy?
Yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe it's the injuries. Maybe it's the scheme. I can't answer that. That's something that I can't say because I don't know what's being called down there and if he's just missing reads or if he's just not progressing the way that they hope. But that again is a team that mortgaged the farm to get this guy, and you
Right.
don't want to miss.
Yeah.
And this is looking like I mean, when you put up that much, you want a top-notch player. You want a top 5 player within the 5 years of his contract, and he's not a top 5 player right now. So, going forward, as far as playoffs and what I believe in them, the inconsistencies are too glaring, and it's not that they're just inconsistent against good teams; they're inconsistent against bad teams also, and I think that's going to hurt them long term. So I'm still sticking with Dallas regardless, but Dallas will still make it interesting.
Well, yeah, my thing is too, when you look at, I just want to chime in one more time on the Dallas schedule. I'm not afraid of the Bears. I'm not afraid of that quarterback situation. That thing is a dumpster fire. Trubisky, Chase Daniel, they don't scare me at all if I'm Dallas. The Rams are not the Rams. They're not from a year ago.
It's funny because I was watching
Yeah,
that game
it
last
was
night.
terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I was trying to figure out is like, are the Ravens really that good, or are the Rams just falling apart?
But they're doing the Philly formula. They bet the farm on a Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
And then they traded all those draft picks. And then Todd Gurley, there's something either majorly
Massively
wrong with him,
Yeah.
or they forgot how to use him. And I'm going to go with option 1. But they mortgaged their future for that Super Bowl run and then couldn't do it. And then they don't. So if I'm Dallas, they don't scare me either. And then Philly definitely doesn't scare me because I know if I'm Dallas, I have more talent. And like you said, from an inconsistency, it's crazy.
So you guys are both going with Dallas.
I hate to say it. I mean,
Yeah, I've been sticking with Dallas pretty much all season. I'm not one to tap dance or jump too often, unless I see something that's massively egregious. But there's Ray's already nailed it. The Bears game, zero fear. But even the Rams, to a point, what the Rams have done so far, especially in the last few weeks, is if they play a good defense, look what happened. I mean, it was the same against Pittsburgh a few weeks ago. That was a good Pittsburgh defense that he played as well. So I have zero faith in what the Rams are doing right now. So
something's wrong.
That might be one of the worst teams in football playing right now. I hate to say it that way, especially for a team that's winning. But Dallas' schedule might set up a little bit better because the teams that they are playing are currently playing very poor, whereas Philadelphia is playing teams with nothing to lose. You have Miami, you have the Giants in there. Sure, you have the Redskins. Dwayne Haskins actually finally played pretty well. I mean, nothing great. It's but he took a win. Sure. Good for you, man. So the more that confidence builds, division games, the more it's going to be tough on Philadelphia long term. So I'm not feeling it, and that's what 4 consecutive 4 consecutive division games is what they got. Is
Yeah,
that
that's
correct?
that's always
Nuts.
tough.
Nuts.
And the Rams game for the Cowboys is definitely going to be a revenge game, right? Because you can put it on the tape from last year's play,
yeah.
and so you're going to go into that game already pissed off from last year. You don't forget games like that. So that's why the Rams wouldn't scare me if I was Dallas either.
So Dallas, and I'm going to go against the trend here. I'm going to say
Yeah,
I
there
think
you go.
Philly. Yeah, I think
There you
Philly's
go.
just
Well, we
too
have
bad.
to be a little different.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah,
different.
yeah. But there you go. There's our breakdown of that, and we shall see in the coming weeks what happens.
Exactly.
So I've got a treat for you guys today, and I'm going to try to figure this out. This is me trying to figure out the damn computer. Where's Todd? So Erica actually sent in her trivia from Florida.
Which is awesome.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I didn't even know you could do that, but she talked with Todd, and apparently that's a thing.
Yeah.
Who knew? I'm still back like computers. Oh,
Yeah.
What are they all about? Who's using them? How do they do it? So I'm gonna try to get this up here, and maybe I won't figure it out, but let's see what I can do on here, and I think it does this.
I'm coming to you from the University of Florida down here in the swamp for this week's Moss's Mindbender. In honor of my location, I figured I'd ask a question regarding Gator great Emmitt Smith. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys are playing their annual Thanksgiving Day game against the Buffalo Bills, so I figured I'd go right along with that. We all know that Emmitt Smith is the NFL's all-time leading rusher, but my question is, during his 15 seasons in the NFL, how many rushing titles did he have? Again, during his 15 seasons in the NFL, how many rushing titles did Gator great Emmitt Smith win? We're going to find out that answer right after the break. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. Welcome back to the second down of 3 and Out, brought to you by Disruption Network and MyGarageBar.com. I'm still hanging out down here in the swamp, but before the break, I hit you with my Moss's Mindbender. That question was, during his 15 seasons in the NFL, how many rushing titles did Gator great Emmitt Smith win? The answer is 4. Yep, Emmitt won the rushing titles 3 years in a row, 1991, 92, and 93, and then again in 95. He was beat out in 94 by Barry Sanders and Chris Warren and came in at number 3. But what a great career Emmitt Smith had, both at Florida and in the NFL. Now, us Gator fans, we're all hoping that to have his son play right here in the swamp in the near future. And I'll just cross our fingers on that. So there you have it, folks. This week's Moss's Mindbender. I'll see you all next week back in the studio. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You know, I wish she was here because I would tell her what a dork she is.
Colossal dork. We all know that, and that's why we love her. So
You can't. Well, you. I don't know if you guys could see on the video that's going, but she's over there. We hope his son's there.
Yep.
That whole family is obsessed with the Gators.
I know, yeah, which is great. And for I think in Moss's sake, which she didn't say on that, she also meant, and then after his career into Pittsburgh. So,
Yeah. And this is a true story. She probably doesn't want me to say this on there, but I'm going to.
okay, do it.
She's not here to stop.
She can't stop you.
She can't stop.
When I first met Erica, I actually went to her house, and we walked in, and her father goes, "Let me show you the Gator room." I had never seen anybody that had a Gator room before.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and it was an orange and blue room with all kinds of like autographs and everything on the floor or on the wall, and they had like bean bags in there with the Gators things on them.
Yeah.
And he handed me a beer. And he goes, "Oh, here you go. And what's your favorite team?" And I went, "Well, I'm a upstate guy. I'd probably Syracuse." And he goes, "Oh," he takes the beer out of my hand. He goes, "In this house, we like the Gators."
Oh,
I was like, "Yeah, Gators are
Yeah,
fine."
yeah,
They
great.
gave me back the beer.
Gators are wonderful. Who's their quarterback? Yeah.
Bobby Boucher.
Is it still that grocery guy or whatever the hell his name is?
But yeah, the whole family's obsessed. So, and I can't believe she did that video from me. She went down, and that was going to be her first thing. She said, she goes, "Well," I'm like, "Did you go to Disney? Did you do this? Did you do that?" No, but
Go to the swamp.
I went to the swamp to record my video.
Yeah, she's a dork. There's proof right there.
Yeah. Anyways, she'll be back next week, or no? Will she? I don't know what she's doing.
No, she's off next week. He's
Oh, double header.
Are you
That's
doing
right.
it?
Yeah,
Wow, double duty. What about you, Ray? I wonder what happened to him.
I hope he's okay at least. Yeah, like if he's like really in Buffalo
Yeah,
jail or
it really
something.
is.
He might be.
Never came back. So for this down here, for our second down, we're going to do something which is a little bit different, and that is I'm going to ask you guys to play Swami. Play the Swami.
Loving it.
That was very dramatic, wasn't it?
That
was.
was, yeah.
I liked it.
It was realistic.
So how did I word this? I sent you this message out, and I said, so each of you guys get to make 2 predictions for the upcoming playoffs or off season. It can be coach firings, hirings, players you expect to see, move, any kind of prediction, but it's got to be bold. That's the whole thing. Got to be a bold prediction, and yeah, pretty much it's on the table. So we were counting on having 6 predictions tonight, but I guess we're going to go with 4.
4, yeah.
4 bold predictions. Jamie, I'll have you give your bold prediction first.
My first one, I want to stick to the coaching one, so we'll see if Ray follows along if he's got a coaching one as well. My coaching one, my bold prediction is that Anthony Lynn of the Los Angeles,
Yes.
Chargers.
Wow.
I almost said San Diego.
Yeah, you
Did you rehearse that one?
Yeah, I know. So Anthony Lynn of the Los Angeles Chargers will be fired by the end of the season, and I know their record isn't that bad. I mean, it's bad enough. Additionally, that's only going to be a second season on the job there, but my prediction goes with something else in the Charger Nation is that I think it's going to be a colossal fire sale, very similar to what we just saw in Miami during the offseason, to get rid of a lot of the hefty contracts, a lot of the aging veterans that they don't use anymore, or don't need, I shouldn't say don't use. Try to get some draft capital, stock up a little bit, maybe in some free agent players, a little cheaper guys, and try to rebuild. And generally speaking, when you start rebuilding, you usually lose your coach too. And I think they're going to want to bring in a new coach to get a new quarterback in there as well.
That's interesting.
Yes, so
Bold, sir.
that is a bold prediction.
bold. That is too bold.
That is too bold.
Ray, what's your first bold prediction?
So I'll stick with the coaching theme. I think, it's a long time coming. Jason Garrett is going to get fired.
Yeah.
He should have last week. And I think they're going to go college ranks. So now I know that hasn't been a hot topic past couple years. They go for the flashy coordinator, flashy offensive coordinator. But I think they're going to go flashy offensive college coach. So I think they're going to sign either Lincoln Riley, who they've been flirting with, from Oklahoma. He might have I think it's the 3 Heismans in a row.
Yeah.
Heisman winners in a row if Jalen Hurts wins.
Yep.
So they've been flirting with that. I know there were some reports out there. Lincoln wants that as his dream job, and Jerry's all about flashy moves. He'll definitely spend the money to get Lincoln there. I know Lincoln's one of the highest paid coaches in the college ranks. And if he doesn't get him, I think it's going to be Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's kind of sitting out there
Ooh, yeah.
to go with the Gator theme here. I think he's the type of coach also that fits that program. Definitely more of a genius than Jason Garrett from an offensive defense. If he can identify talent, he's done that every place he's gone. And I think that moves the needle for the people that are on the team as well. I don't think they listen to Jason Garrett at all.
No.
So if you get a Lincoln Riley in there with a new offensive system, that'll benefit. And Urban Meyer, just from a leadership standpoint, and the people who are going to respond to.
I feel like when you're saying offensive genius and you're using, Jason Garrett in the same thing, you're setting the bar really, really, really well.
Yeah. I mean,
It doesn't take much.
Kellen Moore is working, though.
Kellen
So,
Moore's been great.
He's got Dak Prescott leading the league. For a guy that never used to throw the ball, now he's leading the league.
Yeah.
It's only because Mahomes went down, but that's
besides the point. But
that's besides the point.
But even you said Kellen Moore, there's the beauty of it too. A lot of the Dallas fans currently are clamoring for Kellen Moore to get promoted to head coach and to give the good old axe to Jason Garrett.
Yeah.
So there's another one. But as far as your bold prediction, I would like Lincoln Riley there better than I would Urban Meyer if it's me, because we all know Jerry Jones literally owns every part of that team.
Yeah, he does.
So at least with a guy like Lincoln Riley, who's hungry to get that dream job that you said, he might be a little bit more complacent. Whereas Urban Meyer is kind of a polarizing figure. And so I don't know. They might clash. So if I'm Jerry Jones, I think the Lincoln Riley one's a pretty good one. Though.
Right, but I think if you get either one of those coaches, you're going to see Jerry pull back more. I think why he's so overbearing as of late is because Jason Garrett cannot get the
Oh, no,
job
he's
done.
terrible. At least with Riley, Riley's a very good offensive
Right.
mind. Very good offensive.
And you have Rod Malinelli doing the defense for Dallas.
Yeah, so
So I think that
Leave him
that'll
alone.
be fine. Yeah,
Yep.
I just think you need somebody. You need another voice, a different voice in there.
Yeah.
Jason Garrett has had. Is he on 8 years already? 7.
I say it might be more, man.
So it's just not. It's not working out.
He's been there. He's been there for what seems like an eternity, and every year he's always on the hot seat.
Also, not to get into a fist fight, I disagree with your Charger statement. The Los Angeles Chargers. I don't have that problem.
Oh, thank you.
So,
Some of us aren't perfect, right?
right. No, I know that's why he brought me on here. So it's my thing is, I think you
Shark
are
convention.
only the shark. I think you are only a quarterback away. I think there's too much talent, and they draft good to great in every position. I think you're a quarterback away from that, which will go into my second prediction. So I'm not. I'm leave you on that cliffhanger, and I'm gonna let you go and make some more witty comments.
No problem.
So that's a to be continued.
To be continued.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's the Infinity War, and I'll get to
Yes.
the end game.
But to continue on your point, my only problem is defensively. You're absolutely right. I think they're in great shape in Los Angeles. Defensively,
2 for 2.
yeah, exactly.
That's impressive.
It's not going to happen again. But offensively, I think there's more issues all the way around. It starts at the offensive line and pretty much spreads at that point. And so the only one that I can see really actually hanging on right now is Austin Eckler. I don't see another player staying on that offense.
Well,
right now.
you have the problem with Melvin Gordon. You need to get rid of
he's
him.
gotta go.
You're missing Derwin James, who's amazing
That's why I thought they'd
on
be
the
in great
defense.
shape.
Yeah,
Yep, yep.
they're fine on defense. Keenan Allen's still great, regardless of what you say.
I would say so too, but he's also getting up there and he keeps getting hurt.
No, not this year.
It was 5 weeks.
There's still time
Is that your bold prediction for San Diego?
in the next 5 weeks.
So if you focus on a quarterback and you fix that offensive line, I mean, just last year they were 11-5 and they almost won that division.
Yes.
I don't think they're that far off. I don't think it's a total rebuild like it should be in other places, but I disagree with you on that.
No, look, I don't think it should happen. I just think it will. That's and hence the boldness.
I like Lynn though.
You know?
He took.
I do too. I thought
should.
he
He's
did,
from Buffalo.
yeah, I thought he did a great
you're
job when he was in Buffalo as the offensive coordinator. I thought he did phenomenal there.
Yeah.
He earned that job. But I think just the problem with the NFL for what it is, it's all about how quick you can produce results. And if you have a letdown of a season, that knee-jerk reaction just kind of happens to come. Hey, hell, we just got to watch last year an Arizona coach get fired after one season after drafting a quarterback, which I understand the guy hasn't played very well, but
What are you trying to say? What team is he on? You keep setting this stuff up. for this Miami
wasn't
Dolphins
going with
stuff,
that.
man.
I was sticking to Arizona, but they hire a coach, they let him draft his quarterback, and then they fire the guy in 1 year and draft yet another quarterback and push the reset button. It seems to be like I don't like that the NFL does that, but it is a lot of quick reactions, and that's what I hate. And I think this one will be like, well, you had all the pieces, and you let us down. See you later.
The
would be
only thing that goes against your semi-bold prediction is they're moving into a new stadium.
Yeah.
So they want to keep they either want a new marquee name if you're not keeping Phillip Rivers, and you kind of want to ease into that because you're the second team in LA and you have no fans unless you go to Mexico City. Apparently, I don't know if you watched last
they
week.
stay.
They're all Charger fans.
all Chargers.
So
That's the bold prediction.
Yeah, that's the bold-
The Chargers move to Mexico.
if you get a new face at quarterback who's coming up on his end of the contract, move into the new stadium, start building a fan base with somebody that maybe has better recognition than Phillip Rivers, who still lives in San Diego, by the way. He drives 3 hours to LA.
I have a feeling you have your next prediction.
I do have my next prediction, but that's
You know what? No, I'd say we should let Ray go on this one because he's leading into it so
I
perfectly.
am.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am. It's going really well. So my next prediction is Tom Brady's going to play somewhere else next year. I think
That's bold.
between
That is very bold.
I think between Belichick and Brady, we always combine them together. At some point in time, they're going to want to decide who it really was that got all of those Super Bowls. So if you take a team like the Chargers from Los Angeles, moving into a new building, getting a Tom Brady, there's your marquee name. You move into the stadium. You already have the pieces in place.
Wow, wait a minute. So you have Tom Brady not only leaving the Patriots but going to the Chargers?
I have several other teams, but I'm leaning on this Charger thing.
Okay.
You do have Tennessee, right? With Vrabel, you have that connection. John Elway's always desperate for a quarterback.
Always.
That was a shot at Ray Nation. I literally wanted to do that. Listen, Ray, John Elway is not working out for you. So you have that. You have Tampa Bay with Bruce Arians.
Yep.
They have a ready-to-build offense all set to go. Jacksonville, they don't know what they're doing at all.
Yeah.
I would also say Indy, and here's going to be my add-on to that bold prediction. If Brady goes to Indy, Brissett goes back to New England.
That would be hilarious.
Wow.
Starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Bold, sir. Bold. That's how we like them around here.
Thanks.
Bold.
That's why you have me on 2 weeks in a row.
Exactly. Because now we need more bold ones next week. See if you pull it off.
Yeah, how do you follow that up? I mean, you
I should have. went first.
you should have went first.
I
For
should
that.
have went first.
could have had to bring the damn house every week now.
The Los Chargers, by the way. The Los.
The Los Chargers. The Los.
What's your bold?
A bold prediction is going off of what I watched this past weekend in Denver, or with Denver, I should say, in Buffalo. Flacco's terrible. Let's throw that out there. I know he didn't play this weekend, and Brandon Allen is just about as god awful. That was pretty bad. I mean, that was utter dominance I got to watch. So my bold prediction is more or less on a certain player. It's Drew Lock, who's going to be possibly playing this weekend. Potentially, we'll say either next weekend or the weekend after is going to be the official starting date. But my prediction is that Drew Lock is going to do enough to win the starting job for next year and finally get John Elway off the damn hot seat. And not because John Elway's some friggin' genius. It's just the fact that he lucked into this one.
Well, tell
He
Ray
absolutely
that.
did.
Tell Ray.
By the way, yeah, John
get that,
Ray, just so you know, John Elway got lucky that Drew Lock fell out of favor during the first early rounds of the draft and stumbled to the Denver Broncos, and you just had no other option. Just to let you know, Ray.
Right. And also, John Elway got lucky with Terrell Davis. We've wanted to say that for years.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
So that one's on you, buddy.
Okay. Any response? No. Okay.
He left me speechless, really.
Yeah, he's
Good point, Ray.
So my philosophy is this: if you flash back to his college years in Missouri for Drew Lock, he was coming up going into his last year of college as quite possibly the #1 overall pick. He was like a preseason favorite to be the best quarterback coming out of that draft. And then the names of the Baker Mayfields, the Josh Allens that went very high. Josh Rosen wasn't even a thought yet, and
It's still not.
It's still not. You're
He's still
absolutely
not.
right. And Sam Darnold were actually more mid-level picks, if anything. Josh Allen was still going to be a project, but they were talking second, third rounder for him, you know. But of course, as every season kind of progresses, one player kind of steps up out of nowhere, and everybody starts salivating over him. They got that kid. What's the kid that just came out? The LSU quarterback. What's his name?
Burrow.
Thank you. Now he's the #1 overall pick this year. I didn't even know who the hell that was up until 3-4 weeks ago when all of it came about. The two that were coming out this year were Tua and Justin Herbert from Oregon.
Well, you got Jake Fromm too.
And Jake Fromm, yeah, you're absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, and Jake Fromm. Those were like the three big names, and now you have a new guy coming up, and he's the shiny new toy. That's exactly what happened with Drew Lock. And it's not that he had a bad season at Missouri. It's just that the other prospects were a little bit tastier looking because they were new. So Drew Lock falls out of the first round, falls as far as the third round. I thought that was a terrible decision by many teams that were looking at quarterbacks to let him go that far. So I think Elway got extremely lucky. And the only downfall is that Drew Lock has been hurt most of the year, so he couldn't get his chance earlier this season. But I think that's going to do him some favors with the rest of the thing. There's nothing to play for in Denver. They're pretty much eliminated, not mathematically. And I like his game more than enough that I think he's going to impress some people, and they're not even going to look for one.
I'm going to say 2 words.
Yeah.
Brady, Vegas.
Brady Vegas.
Right, so they're moving. He's not sold on Derek Carr, right? Moving to a new stadium. What bigger marquee name in a new city that's getting a new team, new $40 billion stadium than Tom Brady
to Vegas? So you added yet another team.
I'm just
nice,
just because your bold prediction.
We got 31 other teams working.
Miami, never.
That's the boldest of prediction. I can guarantee that Brady will not be in Buffalo, Miami, or New Jersey next year.
Well, Adam Gase is terrible. He might do that.
What's funny is that I actually thought about that. I'm like, that would be my prediction. Adam Gase might get fired again, and I thought about it. I'm like, that's not that bold.
That's
he
really
shouldn't
not
have been.
bold.
He shouldn't have been
Not
hired. How did he get hired?
How do you get a second job after that crap?
And that press conference, man.
Wow. Yeah. Everybody's saying that he was stoned out of his mind.
I don't think stoned was the word, but yeah, sure.
We'll go with that. He was ripped.
Roll with that.
Yeah, he was wrecked.
Like John Elway taking Joe Flacco. Right, Ray?
Thoughts on Joe? Nothing. Okay.
Speechless. You left him speechless twice in one show. Crazy. So before we do your IR here,
Sure.
I guess I'm going to take up a little bit of time because Ray's not here, so he can't do his.
That's right. You got bold predictions? I want to hear yours.
I was going to give you one, and this is bold, sir. Bold.
Yes.
I'm going to say that the Raiders are going to win the AFC West next year.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant this year. I was like,
No, he's
actually.
listen. Gruden's drafted well.
Yeah.
Right? He just needs he needs to figure out what he's doing with Carr.
Yeah.
But he'll have another draft.
He's going to have another draft. He's got a ton of picks.
He does.
And I'll tell you what, that team has actually kind of surprised me, man.
Yep.
At the beginning of the season, we were all sitting here going, wow, they're a dumpster fire. But look where they are, man. They're not a bad team. They're competitive. And I almost want to say that if the receiver, who we shall not mention, had actually stuck around, I don't know.
They'd be better.
They would. You're right.
They would be better.
Right.
That might be
that's a good one.
threat. So
what else you got off the top of your head? You got to have another one.
you know what? I have this idea that maybe Tom Brady is going to Miami.
No.
Bold. You wanted bold.
I like this show up until that point.
That is bold.
Listen, we got to go to break. We got to do your IR, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what do we got here? What do we got? I got my magical buttons over here.
Yes.
And, here it goes.
All right. All right. Still love that music, by the way.
Yeah, that's nice.
Kudos to Todd.
Exactly. So let's get going on this week's IR. So being in Buffalo this weekend at the game kind of hurt a little bit because I couldn't really see too many of the injuries. But as I looked at the injury report from this past week, saw a couple players in the Washington Redskin game, both on the Redskins, leaving for what is called a stinger. And I pretty much decided, hey, why not explain what the hell that actually is? Because I'm sure most people don't. You hear a stinger, you just figure like, oh, he got hit well. And that's about it. What would actually happen is, in the case of a stinger, it's also called a burner. And the reason it's called that is because it's a nerve injury right in your neck and shoulder area that causes either electric shock type of pain all the way down your arm or a warm burning sensation. So that's why they call it a stinger or a burner. The way this is done is it's usually done by tackling. And what happens is you drive your shoulder into somebody's body and your head goes the opposite direction of the shoulder you hit with. It puts a strain on a bundle of nerves. It kind of acts like a cord, an intertwining group of nerves that runs through your neck and down your shoulder, called your brachial plexus, by the way. And it causes strain on that to the point of its actual small amounts of nerve damage. And that's what causes those types of sensation. Now, the prognosis or the long-term effect even on this is generally for the next, however long this injury lasts, you're going to have numbness and tingling in that entire arm. You're going to have that warm burning sensation or that shock-like symptom. The weird part about it is this could last a couple minutes. It could last an hour or it can last a few days. It's not a long-term injury, and the body itself kind of, as long as you kind of get a little rest, will heal up fast enough that this isn't something that should keep either of these players out long-term or even past this weekend. So really the only thing that they have to do is rest it up, not get any more contact to it, and maybe take a little ibuprofen to reduce a little swelling, and that will be it. They'll be fine. But unfortunately for those guys in that game, they're usually ruled out because you don't want to risk a further injury to that area of the neck or the nerves themselves. So for this week's IR, I am Jamie on behalf of MyGarageBar.com and Disruption Network, and we'll see you right after this break.
I would love to do Ray's house money right now, but I guess we're not going to do that because we're sans Ray. So
yes,
yeah. But you guys listening to you guys on the other side or whatever. I'm over here playing with the computer and everything, and I just have to tell everybody that Ray over here, total friends for way too many years. Yeah. He goes, so that's your bold prediction? What, your internet don't work?
I was in Buffalo, yes.
I was in Buffalo, and his response was, what, it doesn't work in the Yukon?
Yeah.
So
they don't have Wi-Fi at that magical stadium? New era?
Look, most of the bold predictions aren't really bold anymore. Everybody else has said who's going to get fired. And
How would you know? How you haven't watched anything?
I hate you.
Ugh.
I passionately hate you.
Well, you guys are going to amp up the hate in this
Yep,
segment because
absolutely.
we are going to talk about your top 10 players
Yes.
of all time, and it's kind of going with the theme going right now with the NFL releasing their top 100 players of all time. And I was watching the one with Ray Lewis the other night. And I thought, yeah, Ray Lewis. But you guys are telling me that Jamie, what'd you say? You don't really have all like quarterbacks. That would have been my
Exactly. Because when you make a list of top NFL players of all time, first off, I mean, look at your options.
right.
But when I was thinking about it, my personal thought was when I made the list was not somebody that you can just throw these names out and everybody loves them and thinks they're wonderful. My 10 were people that I thought changed the game for the better in some way, shape, or form. So when I looked at that, I found one quarterback. That was it.
Wow.
I found one.
So I think the way we should do this is we'll go back and forth.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Working from number 10 up to number 1.
And
But and for
Yeah.
the most part, a lot of these I feel like we don't really need to
Right.
explain.
Right.
No, we won't
Yeah.
go crazy.
Yeah.
But elaborate a little and
Yeah.
call it that.
But if you get one from left field, then you're going to have to explain this one. So
There's a few.
Who wants to go first?
older and prettier. So I mean, youth.
Well, you could do it that way. The prettier part's not actually accurate. But yeah, I'll start it off. The love that we have, and he owes me 60 chicken wings for
I
this
do.
season. Yeah.
I do.
Really, you're getting chicken wings?
Oh yeah, we have a standing bet over
Yeah.
the games that our favorite teams play against each other. So the Bills won both games against the Dolphins, so that's 20 per win. And already the Hawks
Yep.
beat the Spurs this year, so that's 60.
So it's every team. So we've known each other 34 years, best friends.
Yep.
4th of July. So every team that he likes, I like the rival.
Yeah.
And it just happens to work out that
yeah,
way.
so it's 20 per victory.
Yeah. So if Miami, the Hurricanes play, what is it, Hawaii this year?
Yep.
More chicken wings.
More chicken
more
wings. It's usually a series between the Mariners and Athletics.
Yeah.
Who wins overall? Otherwise, baseball's too long. Anyway,
Yeah, we don't really do that one.
yeah. And then the Avalanche.
Yeah,
for me.
you'd go broke with chicken wings.
Yeah.
Avalanche and
was-
Capitals.
Yeah,
so,
Avalanche.
yeah,
Capitals.
Wow, crazy.
it's kind of funny how that works.
Lots
So-
of wings.
Yeah, exactly. So that was just, now that we're a little off the cuff.
Yeah,
Let's
who
go
do you
right
got
back.
for number 10?
So number 10, and I'm going to start with this one is a little off the cuff because this is the only offensive lineman that I have on the entire list.
You
And
got
yes,
an
I
offensive
have an
lineman.
offensive lineman on the list.
Wow.
And that is Anthony Munoz from the Cincinnati Bengals
okay.
as number 10 on that one. There is quite a few that I could honestly say would belong on some of the best lists, but as far as it goes, as far as Munoz goes, the guy was a perennial Pro Bowl player in his entire career, barely missed games, and pretty much, defined what offensive linemen should do from the time he started to the time he retired, of how they should act out on and off the field, and additionally just how to be as dominant as you possibly can. And he's the best that I saw, at least of the potential candidates. So I liked Anthony Munoz for that.
You're shaking your
No,
head.
it's a safe pick, right? I would expect nothing less. So I also
You don't
have
have the internet.
up in the Yukon. Up in the Yukon, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
I also have an offensive lineman. I have Bruce Matthews from the Houston Oilers Titans. He played all 5 positions, by the way, including lawn snapper. 293 straight games. Wow. So he began his career and finished his career with the Titans/Oilers. And the only person that has more consecutive games is Brett Favre. So
Oh, it really?
yeah,
Okay.
and he's made the Pro Bowl at every position on the offensive line.
Yeah, that's pretty special.
Well, he sounds better than somebody's pick. I mean, I don't know if you can put a poll up or vote.
Oh,
but,
and we're talking about safety picks here. I mean, Jesus Christ, you went with Bruce Matthews. He spawned children that are potentially like on the border.
yeah. Where's Mr. Munez in Cincinnati?
He's busy playing football instead of spawning kids.
Right. He probably doesn't have the internet there either. So
He probably doesn't.
it is Cincinnati.
Yes.
I love it. Love it.
This is number 10. Yeah, all right. So wait,
it's gonna get better.
Wait till we keep going.
Number 9.
Number 9, the only quarterback that I have on the list I'm putting down here at 9 is Joe Montana. And Ray's shaking his head over there. But the reason I picked Joe Montana was very simple over the rest of the quarterbacks. Very simple. He changed the way the position of quarterback was played throughout the 80s. And in a time when elite Hall of Fame quarterbacks were pretty much everywhere, and that's not easy to do. Additionally, when it came down to the big moments, the clutch moments, he is perfect, and on many, not just in the game itself. Additionally, he holds the record for consecutive pass attempts without throwing an interception in the Super Bowl. So there's that. He also has the record for best QB rating in the Super Bowl as well. That's dynamic play, and of course, we remember Dwight Clark. That's all I'm going to say about
Yeah,
that.
that's good. That's good.
The catch.
The catch.
So to bounce off of his quarterback, I have only one quarterback as well. I hate him immensely. I can't go against what he is doing and has done. So it's Tom Brady. I hate it. I hate picking against people like Joe Montana, Dan Marino. Jim Kelly was okay, I guess, but it's more or less he holds 54 NFL records from both playoff and regular season. I hate him. I hate him.
I'm going to be like the Emperor from Star Wars and point out that Jamie, look at, you can feel the hate swelling for him as you mentioned Tom Brady.
Yeah, I hate him.
And you think he's not even on the list, Tom Brady?
No, because again, my reasoning for all these players were players that changed the game for what I say is the better, and this was a specific one that I think has not changed it for the better, mostly because
Change it for the worse.
Yeah, no, he's right.
which is 100% true. Because I mean, we'll take the scandals away. There's been too many to count. The bigger problems is there are two rules that were put into effect because of calls that went against him or an injury that took him out. And I hate that. I think it's the worst thing in the world that you can't touch a leg anymore of a quarterback because of the ACL injury Brady suffered against Pittsburgh. Yes, I remember the game too. It was a happy day.
Ding.
But I really absolutely hate that for that exact reason, that now quarterbacks are treated pretty much like ballerinas.
Yeah, untouchables.
With ballerinas with arms, and that's it. And I hate that. I think it's a terrible, terrible thing. So that's why I don't like Brady on this list.
In no way, shape, or form am I ever going to defend Tom Brady. So please keep piling on. I don't care.
Carry on. Yeah,
I don't care. if
Keep
he's-
going.
Yeah, I don't care.
Who do we have for 8?
Number 8 is going to make you happy. Mean Joe Green.
Absolutely.
A dynamic anchor of the Steel Curtain defense throughout the 70s. And as far as what he did to change the game, he made that position, among a few other linebackers, Dick Butkus, to be that that gritty, tough, bloody mess of a position that it's become. And I think he was one of the nastier to do it, at least. There's been some, I think, that are better, but he was one of the nastiest to do it.
You're never going to get me to dispute
Mean Joe,
Green.
of course.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
man.
you'll get ready to do it, though.
Oh, here he comes.
I don't. I think that's a solid pick.
Okay.
It's not a safe pick, right?
Thank you.
You have to go through different eras to figure out top one. There's 100 years, right? So I'm fine with that pick. I guess, suck up to your boss. But so I'm going to pick Tony Gonzalez. When you think of number one tight end, just like there are a couple other positions when you think of, Tony comes to mind, maybe with two others, but he leads. Yeah. He's the all-time leader in yards, touchdowns. He is the greatest tight end. He changed the game. I know Kellen Winslow was there, but from a receiving tight end perspective, he was consistent through all those Kansas City Chief teams that were terrible. Go back and look at the quarterbacks throwing to him. But it's just going to be Tony Gonzalez at number 8, and I know he's not going to debate that one.
No, I'm definitely not, because first off, I'm happy as a tight end.
Yeah,
because I wasn't able to find one that I thought was there, because the only other one you can even make a small argument for is Shannon Sharp.
I would agree with that.
And that's it. Really,
no Antonio Gates in there, huh?
Injuries derailed him. I don't think he's one of the best for that reason. And besides the fact he was the third along the line of receiving tight ends, those other two had already had long established careers when that happened.
Well, and then especially from San Diego Charger, because that's what he was.
Yeah, he was actually in San Diego.
It goes from Kellen Winslow, to Antonio Gates.
I'd agree with that.
So it's you have a lineage going on there too. So.
Yeah.
Chargers are getting a lot of love tonight.
They are a little bit.
Only in Mexico City.
Oh yeah. Viva los Chargers.
Viva los Chargers.
We're on the internet, so we are global. We just don't know anybody.
Just not in Buffalo.
Yeah, exactly.
What do we got for 7?
Number 7. Ray's like staring over here. He's like, "What is he going to say?"
No, I know what he's going to say.
No, you're not. No, you don't actually. Okay. The one I think Ray is thinking. I actually have a list longer than 10. Is now wiped out of this list. But number 7 is Ronnie Lott. the only story you can really say about this when it comes to safety and how bad these guys wanted to play, there is a story that came out that Ronnie Lott dislocated his pinky and had them cut it off on the friggin' sideline so he can get back to the game quicker without pain.
Yeah.
They cut it off, dude,
Yeah.
and you're trying to play without the pain. It's not replacing it or throwing it back in spot. They cut it off.
Those guys back then were
that's
they-
great.
they
That's-
different
played.
breed of cat.
Oh, yeah.
And that's it. And you just look at hear that story and go, yeah, you're probably one of the best ever.
he lost that game though.
Who cares?
He lost more
he
than
lost
that.
more
He
than
did.
the game, man.
I don't know if he lost that game. I just want.
Yeah.
That-
no
it
idea.
reminds me too. Remember Jack Youngblood
Yep.
Jack Youngblood
played with what was it, like a fractured leg or something? He went back in the game.
Went back, kept going. Didn't care.
Lunatics back then.
Absolutely lunatics.
Now they're like, oh, he hit me. He touched my face mask. I need to come out for 3 plays.
Helmet. Yeah,
Helmet,
it's over. So and you know, even if Ronnie Lott lost the game, who cares? He also lost the ability to hold a cup.
Oh my god.
Not the physical jockstrap. cut.
No.
I was confused for a second.
I'm sure he can handle that still. If not, he'll just cut it off. So
Who's your 7?
So to kind of go off the defensive back safety, mine's Deion Sanders. So he might not have a lot of the flashy interception numbers, but they shut down that entire side of the field and you couldn't throw it to him at all.
Right.
Now he couldn't tackle for crap. He wasn't paid to tackle. He would have astronomical numbers if they actually tested him throughout his career. He just shut that entire side down. You couldn't do anything. You're talking 4.24 speed, a punt returner, kick returner. 4 or 5 different teams. He's an all-pro. You can't do it.
Jamie, you're 6.
my number 6. This is the first of a few running backs that I do have. That's probably the position I have the most of. As running back is Barry Sanders. Enough said. But the one stat that says is he's the only player currently in NFL history to have 1,000 yards rushing in every one of his first 10 seasons, and I think he only played 10. I don't think he even stepped on the field for the 11th.
Yeah.
So because he was having that big dispute, he wanted to leave. Detroit wouldn't let him go. He wanted to play for a winner, and he said, "You know what? I'm done. I'm hanging him up." Over 15,000 yards in 10 years. Just think of the dominance right there.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're averaging 1,500 yards. Basically.
And if he had kept playing,
yeah.
wow,
he'd be the one that everybody's chasing. It wouldn't be the way it is right now.
he would have shattered that record.
But he also, I mean, look at how he played. He made it. He made the position something that you don't have to go north and south. You can do whatever the hell you want back there.
Nope.
Don't ever do that. But I don't recommend
Don't.
anybody else doing that.
No.
But he was able to do that, and pretty much you had to watch every carry because you never knew when it was going to happen.
All right, number 6.
Mine's Deacon Jones, defensive lineman from the Rams.
Yes.
So he's the one that coined the term sack. They didn't start keeping track until halfway through his career. Otherwise, he would have finished with 173.5,
Nice.
which would have put him 3 on the all-time list. He was unguardable. You couldn't stop him from coming through the line. I don't think he gets enough credit. I don't think he shows up in a lot of NFL films nearly as much as he should have. He inspired in a plethora of pass rushers. So yeah, definitely mine's Deacon Jones.
Yeah, and you're right. Unless you're like one of those people that tunes into the NFL Network and watches those films, you probably
You
missed him.
have
That
no
sucks.
idea who he is. Yeah.
So, Jamie, last one we're going to do for 5, and then we're going to switch, and I'm going to let Ray go.
Ooh,
Yeah.
interesting.
See
I
how
like
we
this.
mix it up on this show? It's just
We're all over the place.
we're just
I like
playing
it.
jazz,
I like it.
man. We're playing jazz.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you got for 5?
Number 5, one of the most dynamic defensive linemen that I've ever had the privilege of watching play, which is Reggie White.
Oh,
Both for the Eagles and the Packers. I had another lineman on here as well, but I put him more in that 10-11 category, more further down my list. But the thing with Reggie White is he's one of the first that I can remember you actually had to game plan at least 2 people for, and it still didn't work. Yeah, I mean, so damn shame he passed. It's when he
Such
did.
a young age too, really.
A severely young age, but he was a force, and he kept it throughout his entire career. So.
Yep.
What's interesting is that's the same exact one that I had.
Really?
Yeah, so
Yes.
it's good that we're switching on this one.
Yes,
But
yeah.
what Jamie neglected to mention, probably an internet problem.
Yeah, UConn, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also, from what I remember, the first big free agent when he left Philly, and I can't believe they let him go.
Yeah.
And then he signed with lowly Green Bay.
Yeah.
You know, and then won a Super Bowl with Green Bay. I believe that's Brett Favre's only one. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and it just changed that whole dynamic, especially from a Favre perspective. So he definitely wouldn't have won that Super Bowl without Reggie White, much like John Elway, Terrell Davis, for Ray. But yeah, I have the same exact one, and I have a feeling we're going to have similar ones as we go.
Yeah, I think
In the top
the rest
five
of this might be pretty close.
All right. So let's go with 4, and I'm going to have you do your first one, Ray.
Man, this is tough.
This is very tough. I know.
So I have Walter Payton as number 4, Sweetness. So just from a running back perspective, I've never seen anybody run like that. Shifty, power. He can do whatever you want. Receive out of the, the backfield. He kind of changed that dynamic as well from a receiving running back standpoint. It's a shame that he didn't get a touchdown in that Super Bowl 85 Bears, but just watching him run just takes your breath away.
They gave it to the fridge.
They gave it to the fridge.
Yeah.
How do you give it to the fridge? Not that the fridge is not a nice guy. You can't give him but you got to give it to the sweet.
He's also third all-time in all-purpose yards, and that's receiving and
Yeah.
rushing.
So, all right. Who we got for 4, Jamie?
It's going to sound redundant. It's good old Sweetness. It's Walter Payton.
Wow,
So,
look at you guys.
Yeah. My big reasoning, he's one of the first running backs that I saw that took the elusiveness of Barry Sanders and made it a north-south game. Mm-hmm. So he was able to run, get the ball, get a handoff, and pretty much go straight through the pipe and still juke people in that crowd. And that was something that is massively impressive. I don't think I can name another player that's done it since, not the way that he's done it.
Number 3, right?
Top 3.
3.
Here we
Wow,
go.
we're getting down. I wish we had a drum we'd roll.
Yeah.
What do you got for 3?
Top 3 is Lawrence Taylor.
Okay, there you go.
Kind of revolutionized the linebacker position. I know there were great linebackers before. You never had to really game plan specifically around one like Lawrence Taylor.
Right.
And he's one of only 2 defensive players that has won an MVP in the league out of 100 years.
Yep.
Sick.
So, just that stat alone, you have to put him in your top 10, let alone top 5.
Yep. He's not number 3 for me, though.
Oh.
No, he is not number 3. Number 3 for me is Jim Brown. Yeah, so Jim Brown, the reason I go with him is he's the original. He's the OG, if you will. He's the first true running back that you can say was able to take over and dominate a football game. And it paved the way a little bit for certain players, which I won't even say their names, but one that played in Buffalo. And then, guys like Franco Harris that still, developed nice careers of being bruising running backs. And, still, Jim Brown is still the name that you think of when you think of old school running backs. It's Jim Brown. He revolutionized the position all those years ago and never looked back, basically. So
Yeah, I was watching him chat him up the other day because he was one of the ones they were mentioning on the football show.
he's a Cuse grad, if I'm not
He is a
mistaken.
Cuse grad.
Yeah.
Syracuse Orangeman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Jim Brown. So, funny thing is, I don't know how we got on a Buffalo Bill topic with Jim Brown, but I would say he definitely influenced Earl Campbell, Gale Sayers. I'm assuming it was Thurman Thomas was who you were saying.
No, it was actually the Juice.
OJ.
Yeah.
I thought we don't. I know we don't say his name.
Yeah.
But the stat that sticks out for me, besides what Jamie said, is 5.2 yards per carry. That is ridiculous.
Nuts.
Yeah.
And he's doing it with 6 guys on his back. I mean, he's just plowing through people. So he's my number 2.
It's like a car.
It is.
It's like driving a car. Jamie, so your number 2?
Let's not get overwhelmed here. It's
Lawrence
Taylor. Yeah. LT. I mean,
Funny how that worked.
Yeah.
seriously, it's just kind of funny how that flip flop there.
Yeah.
Just to even go with that, I think players were scared to get off the bus when they were playing the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wanted to get hit by this guy. And if you need proof, ask Joe Theismann because his leg has never been facing the right direction.
Does he still have one?
I think it's there. I just don't. It's like on his neck, but it's there.
It's on his neck. They say he has a leg.
Yeah.
It's near his neck.
Just throwing it
It's
over his
somewhere.
shoulder.
The fact that Theismann was able to actually do anything again is amazing.
Yeah.
Because that was, and the worst part about it is it was a totally clean play.
Yeah, 100%.
But man, it was one of the most violent players I've ever seen in LT.
So the moment of truth. Moment of truth.
It has to be the
It's
same
got to be
person.
the same
It
guy.
has to be the
This one has to be the same guy.
But
Number
what if
one?
you saw Jim Brown go against Lawrence Taylor? Who wins that?
Oof.
Basically, what happens is the pads collide, and then a beam of sunlight comes right where it happened,
Yeah.
and an angel starts singing, and then both of them are hugging and walk away arm in arm.
I'm assuming your number one is Jerry Rice.
Yeah, it's totally Jerry Rice.
That would
Jerry
be,
Rice? Both you got Jerry Rice?
I mean,
Oh, that was difficult.
yeah. What you can't? I
Can you
don't
say
know, man.
anything?
I don't-
Well, because the man owns every freaking
He does,
record
but
there
it's
is.
Exactly.
He's great off the field. He's great on the
Yes.
other. There's nothing to hate, except I mean, I guess that he's a 49er, but
Yeah, you have to
Got
really
nothing,
have a
man.
lot of colossal hatred for 49ers to not like Jerry Rice. I mean, small school in Mississippi Valley State, and kind of just work ethic and worked his way into being the greatest receiver ever. I mean,
nothing.
really,
I
if
got
you
nothing.
ask any trivia question on receiving, your answer is always Jerry Rice. And there's probably a few quarterback records that I will still say Jerry Rice. So who's thrown the most passing yards? Probably Jerry Rice.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, you can throw out Jerry Rice safely on almost every
On
trip.
every single question. Who's got the most tackles? Jerry Rice.
The most tackles.
Some guy up in Buffalo, right?
Yeah. No, that doesn't happen. Same,
Yeah, no,
same with
no.
Miami.
So just a couple names on there. I
J-Lo
kinda
still
mentioned
owning
that
it,
I'm
I think?
shocked that you guys didn't know Emmitt Smith.
No.
No.
Wow.
Yards do not make greatness. That was kind of my thought, and I hate to say it that way, but basically he had a long career. He was a very good running back, but it wasn't. Really his blessing was the longevity of his career, and just the fact that you stuck around does not make you look like one of the 10 best, I guess.
Well, that offensive line was absolutely ridiculous. So it always gets mentioned when you talk about Emmitt
Absolutely,
Smith,
yeah.
Is the offensive line that he had. I probably wouldn't put him in top 10 because he came from Florida. So I don't.
See, I'm not that spiteful.
Moss
but-
is shining up
Yeah,
the last
she's
knuckles
like-
as we speak.
Yeah. She's coming back.
Yeah,
early,
she's
just
coming
to-
back
just to
early.
dot him. But not even that. Basically, if we did a top 11, the entire offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys would have been 11 because they were that good, and Daryl Johnston would have been like 11.1.
Or Novacek. But and then you got Michael Irvin, Mr. Pushoff. Like it doesn't. I wouldn't take any of them.
You have some hatred.
And,
Not really.
and
Yeah,
no,
well, a little
no
bit.
Dan Marino in that list. I was actually kind of surprised.
I don't even. He's not even my second top quarterback.
Really?
He wouldn't be. He'd probably be top 5, but
Okay.
number 5. So I'd probably put Peyton, Drew Brees, Montana.
I said Dan Marino specifically knowing that he's the Dolphin fan. Thinking
Yeah. Nope.
someone's going to get him.
No,
Someone's
no,
gonna
get him in.
I'm
No
objective.
love.
Yeah.
No love. All right.
I got to be objective.
I'm objective. What about you? What's your top 10?
I don't have the whole 10, but I will tell you absolutely Jerry Rice would have been
Yeah.
number one. Like you said, you can't go against the guy that owns
Yeah.
every freaking record. And I know he was hanging around the league for a while, but still he had most of those records
Well
long
before.
secured.
You're right. Yeah,
He had a
absolutely.
majority of them long before he became a Raider. That's the
He was a
messed up-
Seahawk too.
And a
That's
Bronco,
right.
too. Right?
Yeah.
Didn't he play for the
He-
Broncos
he-
at the very end?
He might have.
He might have
like a cup of
signed
coffee?
and just kind of tipped the hat and said,
I just
"Yeah,
remember him on the Seahawks. I'm like, why?
yeah, why would you do that to yourself?
Why are you doing that? You're the greatest.
Don't
He
go there.
must-
You're the greatest.
He
Don't
must
go to Seattle.
really like Seattle. So
It's a division rival.
Good stuff. Well, listen, guys, I had a blast. I'm looking at the time. We're way over tonight, but this was one.
this was a fun one.
Yeah, this was
thank
one
you.
of the funner. Is that a word? Funner show? More fun.
More fun would actually.
Funnest.
It's one of the funnest.
funnest,
Call it
funnest,
funnest shows that we've done. And yeah, man, I can't wait till next week when Moss I know will be back.
Oh,
No.
doubleheader.
It's-
This guy.
I might have to call in Moss all the way from Florida, but just as like a safety net for
For good old Raymond there.
yeah, for no show.
I think we have to put out like a search party for him.
I think we do. Yeah. You know what? You know what it is. Ray works massive hours,
Yeah.
and I'm sure right now he's probably like
Punching away at the OT or out
He might be
cold.
sleeping. He might
be
need some
sleeping.
rest.
Yeah.
So.
Plus the drinking probably knocked him out on Sundays.
Oh, he was feeling no pain when I ran into him.
If you
on Sunday.
when you run into somebody at a stadium standing next to a mechanical bull, that's a sign you will not be there on Tuesday. So, anyways, guys, on that we're going to call it, and we'll be back next Tuesday, of course,
Yes.
with the lineup TBD.
There will be at least 3 of us here.
That's pretty good odds. I wonder, is that your bold prediction?
That is my bold prediction. My other bold prediction is that less than 9 former musicians will own the end of the Dolphins by the end of the
Wow.
season. Yeah.
Crazy.
It's currently at what 30?
I don't know. How's the Toronto Bills doing?
that's going to do it for us, man. So for Jamie, for Ray, and for the other Ray,
Yeah.
I'm Rich Masucci. You guys have a great Thanksgiving.
Okay.
You too.
Yeah.
coming
yeah,
up,
Yeah.
and we'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Sounds good.
All right, cheers.
Later.